And we're on.
Hi, welcome. We are from the Art Matters program through Albuquerque Art Museum, and my name is Shelly.
I'm Vashti.
And this is Vashti. And today we're going to just talk about briefly, as you already know, when we work in our program with Art Matters, we just have a few guidelines that we like to remind people about that help us bring up our creative energy and stay connected to ourselves and to respect other people. So that's the first thing, is just to respect yourself and the materials and the people around you. So, and then another one is to participate and to have a good time. Anything else, Vashti?
And that second part about participation, it's really important just to engage with your work and with your process. We don't care a bit about the product here. This is about engaging in your process. And so however that looks for you, you may not be following exactly the guidelines, just follow basic respect of the tools and the space. But if you're inspired to go a slightly different direction, we encourage you to do that.
And another thing we always like to do is to just take a little time to check in with how you're feeling and to check in with your body. So if you're in a chair, you can put your feet on the ground and just roll your shoulders back and just get any tension out and just take a couple deep breaths. You can sigh and just bring your attention inside of yourself for a couple moments. And then when you're ready, since our lesson today has to do with color and shape, I thought it would be fun to check in and express yourself, how you're feeling through shapes or colors. Do you want to start, Vashti?
Sure. That's immediately what came to me is the color indigo and the shape of round. Indigo being a deep blue that's a little purple.
That's nice. I'm feeling also circular. It's with a yellow orange with rays coming out. So it's kind of like a sunshine. Feeling good. So I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah.
So this is
and so you all can pause. Sorry, Vashti, go ahead.
You go.
So take a pause, pause the video and go around with your group and just do a check-in. Shapes and colors, how you're feeling, and just take a moment to share and listen to each other.
Perfect. Press play when you're ready to join us again. Welcome back. Okay, so the project we're doing today, Shelly and I were inspired by a piece in the Albuquerque Museum by an artist who was actually born and raised in Albuquerque, and her name is Ramona Sakiestewa, and she is a Hopi Navajo woman. And her artwork is really stunning. And like I said, this was our inspiration. She has work that is in collections all over the world. She has pieces at Albuquerque Museum, or a piece at Albuquerque Museum. She has a piece at the Smithsonian and other places all around the country. I just want to show you a little bit of her work. So this is the piece that, can you see that? A woven piece, and this is a piece that is at Albuquerque Museum, and it's made from dyed and woven wool. And then I want to go over here, and these are some of her pieces that are on paper, and I just want to scroll through. This is another woven piece. Uses images and techniques from her own culture. This piece is incredibly stunning, as is this one. Okay, so that gives you just a sense of what some of her work is and what our inspiration was for creating this lesson. Her name again is Ramona Sakiestewa, and she has work at Albuquerque Museum, and also if you have an opportunity to look her up online, she's got a very beautiful, well-done website. Okay, so we're going to talk about the materials. I will list them. Shelly and I are both using slightly different materials. If you don't have what we're talking about, see what you have that's similar. We're going to tell you the materials and then have you pause the video to get your workstation set up. I'm using watercolored tissue paper. I'm using magazine pages. I am using 2 pieces of paper. I like to work on 2 in case one gets stuck. I move to the other, go back and forth between the 2. Do what works for you. I'm using a watercolor paper because it's a little thicker. Glue stick. Scissors, totally optional. Use them if you have them. No, need them if you don't. And then I just pulled a piece of cardboard out of the recycling bin to use as a straight edge for tearing paper as well. So do that if you have it. And then I covered my work area with paper because we're using glue, and have my water bottle to keep hydrated. And then also, I forgot to pull them out, wet wipes. If you have wet wipes or a wet rag, just for keeping your fingers clean while we're gluing. Those are the materials I'm using. Shelly, you want to go through and show us what you're using over there?
Yeah, fairly similar, but like Vashti said, use what you have. Also dig around in the recycling bin. I also have the tissue paper. I did cut mine or rip mine into some smaller pieces because they were really big and felt kind of overwhelming for my workspace. And then I also have some construction paper. And let's see, glue stick. And I do also have a couple of different sizes of paper. So I have my large piece of paper, which you can easily fold in half. And then like Vashti said, so then you'll have a couple pieces to work with. And that's about it.
Right.
Pretty simple.
Yep. Pause your video if you're not already all set up. Pause your video, gather materials, and play when you're ready for us again. Hi.
Hey, I'm back.
Okay.
Hopefully you had fun getting your materials ready and the colors are already starting to inspire you.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with a warm-up. Tell me if I'm missing something, Vashti. But we just, again, before we start a warm-up, we just check in. You got your materials ready. Maybe you're feeling, excited, which is great. But let's just, ground back down and get to the warm-ups. So the warm-up is having to do with, we're going to give you a word. And then you'll take your paper scraps, which this is another thing that you could pause and do, or you can do it on the fly. But as you can see here, I've ripped up smaller pieces of paper and I have them organized in little piles. So I have a blue pile, I have my purple pile, a yellow pile, and there's different sizes because we're going to give you a word. And then this is going to be an experiment where you don't glue this paper down. You're just going to move it around and then slide the little tissue paper off or the colored paper off and move to another prompt. Anything else on that, Vashti?
No. So what we're going to do first is just tear some paper together. And I like Shelly's idea of putting her different shapes and colors or color stories in different piles. I just want you to grab whatever your closest piece of paper is. And we're just going to grab the paper and tear it. And I want you to notice how it tears. Okay. And then turn it the other direction and tear that. And notice how that tears. So paper is made on a grain, and whether you're tearing with the grain or not with the grain, it will tear a little differently. So I just want you to take your paper and just twist it and turn it and experiment with how it tears, whether the tear is going the direction you intended or not. Play with that, tear that piece up. And then we're just going to do that with a few different pieces, with a few different materials. Shelly, you want to add anything there?
Just think about different shapes and sizes. Maybe you want to have some really, and it sometimes depends on how the paper is going to tear, like Vashti said, but maybe make some long strips. And then I pick another color, and maybe I'm just going to make like little tidbit polka dots. So just thinking about different shapes and sizes.
And if you have a piece of cardboard or some sort of heavier paper, you can use that as a straight edge. Here, let me get in the, you hold it down against your paper and then you tear the paper against it. And then you get a really clean-ish line, straightish line. You can also.
Just back to the artwork that we saw of Ramona, and we're not trying to copy her by any means. We're being inspired by her, but she had some big triangles. She had some big different trapezoid shapes. And then she had some more intentionally looking like a bird. It looked like a bird to me. So just thinking about the different shapes and colors that she used as an inspiration.
And also just to throw out there, if you fold your paper up and tear pieces out of it, like this would happen.
I'll try that.
Your version of that would happen. But it's fun to just kind of experiment and play with different different ways of tearing into different shapes, different sizes. So go ahead and pause us and then restart the video when you are ready to rejoin us and you've got some piles to work with. All right, welcome back. Shelly, would you like
to? Thanks for the inspiration, Vashti.
Yeah, I love it. Do you want to start the warm up? And then I'll do the next one. Does that work?
So as I said, we are just gonna do, it's called ephemeral, it's temporary. We're just gonna lay some shapes down on the paper about, it could be 30 seconds to a minute for each one. So the first word that we're going to illustrate with our paper is, let's do sky.
And we're not gluing, you're just putting it down, rearranging the pieces as you feel it.
And that's the cool thing about not using glue right now is you can continue to move it around. And there's my sky. What about you, Vashti? Cool. I like how you laid yours on top of each other, the pieces.
The layering. Okay, so dump that off. And let's do dance. Dance is our inspiration word. And you're just going to lay the paper out. You can move it as much or as little as you want from where you lay it.
And yeah, just think of how the shapes fill the space. Like Vashti, she layered hers. You can put things on top of each other. You can move things farther away from each other and see how that changes the composition.
We also forgot to mention, I forgot to mention that some of you are working solo, some of you are working with other people. If you're working with other people and you all want to share your torn paper, you are welcome to work out a way that works for everybody, whether it's creating a pile and saying this section is for anybody to use, make sure that you're respecting each other. If there are pieces that somebody's planning to use, let them have those, that sort of thing. But it's helpful to share. Shelly and I were trying to figure out how we could share paper with each other. Strange times, interesting times. All right, so dance. Let's peep at what we came up with for dance.
Ooh. Oops, one of my dancing fell off.
I love it. A lot of movement in that. That's delightful.
Thanks.
So I'm going to just list a few. Actually, why don't we do one more, Shelly? Do you want to?
We'll do one more, and let's do a little bit more complicated word, maybe. Let's do migrate.
Migrate.
Migrate or migration. And sometimes there's words I don't know what they mean, and I've been playing that game with my child, and it's fun to see what he comes up with illustrating things that he doesn't exactly know what they are, and they're a lot of times more interesting than when I know exactly what something is. So maybe you don't exactly know what migrate is, and that's fine. Just illustrate what you think it is or what it sounds like to you.
That's what happened for me with my grape.
Let's see. Ooh, that's beautiful. I love how the colors changed. And this one,
Nice.
yeah. So now we encourage you to, and you can always take time to share if someone's really curious about yours, or you're curious about someone's, take time to share. And we encourage you to, do you want to give a few more words, or you can just come up with your own?
Shelly and I
Do
will
a few more words.
You could choose to use inspiration, or if you want to come up with your own, some words that Shelly listed inspired by the artist's work are diamond, dance, we did dance, butterfly, galaxy. You could use feeling words for your inspiration or movement words for your inspiration. Okay, so pause us here. Take as much time as you have or want to take to a few more practice ones just to get the inspiration flowing. And then when you're ready, press play. Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back. Hey, I just wanted to add one more thing about the work of Ramona. And it's in a gallery, it's in a show at the Albuquerque Museum, which is called Common Ground. And that is a show that honors and shows all of the artists in that exhibit are from that and or living in New Mexico currently. So that's a place that you could potentially show your work one day as a New Mexican. That's a really cool way to get to know about the history and the people and the artists making stuff in Albuquerque and beyond in New Mexico.
Absolutely. Your sound went out.
It did?
Now you're back. Okay, we're good.
Did you hear anything I just said?
We heard about the Albuquerque Museum and the local artists. And
okay, that's all I said.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Now we're going to move into art making. I mean, we were art making, but now we're going to get into something less ephemeral.
Okay, so again, inspired by her work, you can now grab a larger piece of paper. You can use the smaller piece of paper. Maybe you want to work on 2 at one time. It just depends on what speed you're feeling today and what size. And so essentially, now we're just going to create more of a composition and glue it down. So I'm going to show you a couple that I made. This one's a bit more landscape-ish. And this one, I feel it is a bit landscape, but it has just different elements of design. So you can see how, as Vashti was doing in hers, warm-ups, layering things on top of each other, and just using movement and stillness throughout the composition. And just a note is, one reason why we did that warm-up in that way is to encourage you to, before you're going to glue stick stuff down, you can move it around and see how is it interpreting how you're feeling or what you're trying to express before you lock it in.
And I will throw out there that we all have really different styles of art making, and we also sometimes experiment with different methods and styles. And if what you want to do is just go straight into gluing and just gluing and then seeing where the piece takes you and adding as you're inspired, I encourage you to go that route as well.
Absolutely. And I have to say that's usually what I do.
Yeah. Even when I do lay my work out to start with, I often don't put it back the same way. When I take it apart to glue it, I put back together is sometimes really different because I see something different in the papers. So try both ways. Try what moves you. Play with it. And this work
and just keep in mind, as far as the materials, excuse me, or the glue, if you do have the purple glue, like I do, the purple glue is going to dry clear. So even if you get it on the edges where you can see it, it's going to dry clear. So don't worry about that.
Oh, speaking of gluing, I recommend pretty much always put the glue on the smaller surface of the two things that you're gluing together. So in this case, this is my larger piece. I already have some stuff on it. This is my smaller piece. So I'll put the glue on this piece. What that does is keep you from getting a whole bunch of glue on your larger piece. So I put my glue on the smaller piece and then whoop, 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 place it down, press it. If your fingers get glue, use your wet rag or your wet wipe, whatever you have handy, or you can even do this to clean it off so you're not sticking to your work.
Mm-hmm. And just a reminder, we're gonna wrap up here and let you continue on so you can pause us and we'll sign out here. But I just wanted, again, to thank you for jumping in and making art today. Thank the Albuquerque Museum, Art Matters, our program, and just take time to step away from your work if you need to. If you feel like you're getting frustrated, just take a breath, maybe go get a drink of water and come back.
Okay. Also, I'm going to throw out there before you pause us is take your, hold your work back to look at it, but also rotating it can give you a different perspective and you do something different in it. That can be really inspiring. I tend to work more abstractly. And so, but even if you're working figuratively, it's cool to kind of change your perspective. I encourage you in art and in life. Okay, so pause it. And when you are finished or at a stopping point, start us back up again. Welcome back.
So here's where we just like to share our work, and we encourage you to share your work and talk about it with each other. So I'm just going to hold up this one that I made previously and just say, I like it in this position. It makes me think of a volcano.
Sorry.
That's okay. And then you can, if Vashti wants to give me some feedback or positive encouragement, find something that she likes about it, that's the way that we relate to each other when sharing our work.
Thank you. I actually really love the way that you played with geometry in this, and it feels, to me, it gives me that feeling when I walk outside and take a deep breath and just kind of notice the space around me. That's what happened when I looked at that piece.
Thanks.
So I'm still working with this piece. This is what I created.
And so it looks like you used the magazines.
I did.
I like that with the text, and then it's more like black and white. Reminds me of that one piece a little bit that we saw earlier.
Yeah. And
cool.
Symmetry, I think, is a really important and powerful thing to learn to do. And asymmetry is where I always land in life. And so this started out as a flying creature, which tend to be symmetrical, but I was more moved to mess with the symmetry.
I thought it looked like a flying creature.
So take some time to share your work with each other. I encourage you as artists to think about what the process was like for you. What walls did you hit? How did you overcome these? What changed from when you got started to when you finished? How did you know you were done? What are things you like to think about when you complete a work, Shelly?
I do like to take a break. It's really feels good to me to walk away and come back. And it uplifts me to see what I have made after I've walked away.
I love that. So we're going to do one more pause and come back. Pause us here, take some time and share your work with each other. And when you're done, start us back up again. Okay, welcome back. As Shelly said, we really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us and make art. These are strange times, and as much as we would love to be there in person, we're really grateful for the opportunity to be able to do these videos. I feel like you're here with us. I feel like I'm hanging out with Shelly, which is cool. But thank you for making this time to be with us and to engage in your creative process.
Mm-hmm. And if you do have the capability to take images of the work that you've made or the person who is facilitating for you, I also encourage you to see if you can hang up the artwork where other people can see it, share it with other people.
Yeah, and we want to see pictures of what you do as well. So if there's the possibility to email us some photos, we would love to see what you're doing. So thank you. Now, enjoy your time and then clean up, and we'll see you next time it's time to make a creative mess.
Bye.